how he is again and out there in social isolating Coronaville land. I don't feel the best today. I was up late last night dealing with stuff, and I it's been last few days have been kind of stressful, so I'm a bit burnt out and tired. And I feel I just don't feel myself at the moment. Yeah, just tired. The hay fever's got me down as well a bit, but it could be a lot worse. Now, uh, yeah, I've been thinking about we're starting to see now the vista that lies ahead of us, and clarity is coming in. I found out that the Irish government had given 4 billion to people, basically as a kind of a supplement, who can't work during the lockdown. Now, 4 billion is a colossal amount in a country of not even 6 million people. And that's going to run out, and there's not going to be 4 billion after that, and 4 billion after that, and 4 billion after that. Just the money isn't there. Now, this is, as I've been saying, there's no reason for us to be locked down or in social isolation anymore. No reason for it. And the only reason for doing it now is to beat off the the normies from waking up and realizing just how bad things are going to be going forward. And they have them worried about social distancing and things like that, and wearing masks and gloves. But they want them concentrating on that, because the normie has to be prompted. The normie generally can't think for itself, so it has to have TV to do its thinking for them. Now, the normie does start thinking when reality strikes, like they've no more job. And that's what the governments are frantically trying to prevent, from the normie actually figuring out that he or she is fucked. Now, that doesn't mean life is horrible and things are bad from this point on. I'm just you have to know the rules of engagement, clarity going forward. Now, someone mentioned on Facebook that 2 million businesses have folded in the UK during the lockdown, and it just seemed like a high number to me. I actually went on and checked. It's actually nearly 3 million. It's 2.7 million businesses have folded in the UK. Now, small businesses. Meanwhile, the mega corporations are thriving. Now, there's a massive transfer of wealth going on between the working class and the middle class and the upper middle class, towards the super rich like Bill Gates. And that's why Bill Gates has that duper's delight smirk every time he's interviewed on TV, and someone that says this will be a terrible economic disaster. He does that. Or, millions will die. He does his duper's delight smirk every time some horrible thing is mentioned. Well, that's because he's finally achieved his aristocratic objective of the transferring of wealth from the middle class, working class, and upper middle class to the super rich, to create the aristocratic class and caste system that they've longed for. And if you look at all the economic projection charts, they're all like this, going down. There's been nothing like this. Now, the United States most likely will flourish in the aftermath. So if you're living in the United States, congratulations. You're in a country that will with the right leader, that will pull you quickly out of it. Because he cares about his people. Trump cares about his people more than he cares about corporate big, globalist objectives. Well, they can wait out for another 4 years, the globalists. That's why, and then they'll get their man or woman in the White House, and then it'll be back to normal. Their neocon or whatever. Now, the whole thing now is about you getting yourself together and being ready for the future. Look, there'll always be money, there'll always be opportunities, there'll always be things to do. But You'll have to be more creative, and it'll be a good world for creative people. I mean, I've even been thinking of things like fanzines and stuff like that emerging again, and underground gigs and stuff like that. People playing, bands playing in basements and like it used to be in the old days. And there'll always be something. There'll always be something. It won't be anything horrible. Now, at this massive transfer of wealth from just about everybody to Bill Gates and his type that they've been working on for years, this will happen in tandem with their smart economy, the Internet of Things, the 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 chip in everything. The most valuable thing now in the world today is not gold or oil or anything like that. It's data, information, data on people, data on societies. And this is the most valuable thing going forward. And with this whole Internet of Things that's being slowly introduced, because you see, they're going to say you cannot go back to normal unless you enter into the smart grid, the smart world. So then you can go. You almost get like your smart behavioral existence license, and their smart grid will be like this. It'll be everything is monitored. Now, you're talking about something like they don't have to put a chip in you. You go to the store and you buy a certain brand of cereal, right? That brand of cereal was bought with your credit card, so they know it's you, or your debit card, right? You take that brand of each box will have its own chip in it. They'll know what time you opened it, what time you poured the cereal into the bowl, how much you used, because the box will be able to weigh itself before and after you poured it. And the chip will probably be on the bottom or something, or else it'll be able to look through the box. And what time you did it. And this is like everything. Did you put milk on it? Did you put almond milk on it? Did you put soy milk on it? How much did you put on it? The chip in the carton will tell them that. And they'll calculate things like how many calories you burned from it. Did you go for a walk? Did you go to work? Did you cycle a bicycle? And everything. You'll be monitored like you would not believe, because people like Bill Gates are extreme control freaks. And what keeps Bill Gates awake every night is that he does not know what everyone in the world is doing. He wants to know what every one of the 7 billion people on this planet are doing. Every last one of them. If he had 6,999,900,999 people, and he had one that wasn't monitored, it would keep him awake at night. This is what he's like. These people are pathological autistics or Asperger types, and the data is the key to the ultimate techno-prison that they're going to trap us in. Now, but we'll still survive, and there's always hope that something could go wrong with it. Now, you even hear like clothes. I saw a sportswear manufacturer in Ireland, and they were even saying things like, well, the future for this company is, again, internet, clothes connected to the internet, clothes that warm up when you're cold, can tell you where you lost your jacket, where it is, like literally a chip in everything. But it only takes one coronal mass ejection from the sun to wipe that system out, because it's extremely vulnerable. It's a very vulnerable system. And there'll always be people who find a way to get around it and subvert it. Again, like I told you, that there'll always be someone who says no, but they don't go protesting it. They find a way out of it. And they'll do things like that. They will find ways around it. Now, they will raise a generation thinking it's norming. Now, I don't even know what Bill Gates is at this point. I've been watching videos. I've been like so much hype about him in recent days, from both sides, like this weird sort of like religious worship for him that many normies have, and then the hatred that others have for him. And I was looking at him in his videos. I don't even know what he is, if he's even human. And how he got away with pushing something like Common Core on school curriculums in America is beyond me. Have you not seen Common Core? It's pure gaslighting. You know, how how you subtract 10 from 56, what number do you get? You add 56 and 56 together, put a 0 on the end, um, then take 10, add 14 to 10, remove the 14 from the 56, and if it's not the right number, you add another number to make it the right number. And this was actually going on in schools. It was pure gaslighting, pure gaslighting to destroy people's minds, to make them like not be able to function. Like I always said, Teletubby children, la 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 la. That's what they want, and they've got adults like that already. And you have the people clapping. In England, clap every, I think it's every Tuesday night, maybe tonight starts at 8 p.m. clapping the people who will have jobs when this is over as heroes. All this NHS clapping that they have in England is the unemployed clapping the ones who still have jobs, congratulating them for still having jobs and income. That's all they're doing. That's all they're doing. Clapping they're heroes because they'll have a job when this is over. And like the stupid morons, they all clap, never thinking that what they're doing is they won't have a job and the other ones will. Meanwhile, I'm seeing people drinking like you would not believe here. And now the publicans have come up with a plan to reopen the pubs here. And whether it happens or not, I don't know. But there's other things going on, like there's professional sports people who are suffering from. Now you like say like they don't have a real job, they play soccer or something, but they still suffer from depression and stuff. A lot of people get into sports to fight off depression, so a lot of soccer players suffer from depression, and the playing is actually what helps them. And they can't even train properly at the moment, and they're all like young guys in their early 20s, and no one's thinking about that, you know. And there's all kinds of things like that. I mean, I can't imagine how strange football is going to be when it comes back on. And then when they are playing, they're playing in empty stadiums for a while. It's just so weird. And while all this is happening, the likes of Bill Gates and his people, uh, and types like him, the aristocrats, the royal families, and so on, the super rich from the old aristocratic types' money, will continue to transfer the money from you, me, and people like us all the way back to them. So it'll be like in the old feudal days, and they'll, instead of having, feudal lords monitoring us, they will have chips, and the 5G network is I hear people going on, 5G is creating coronavirus and diseases. You should be more worried about its ability to watch you completely. That's much more frightening and much more insidious than the disease thing. In fact, the disease thing could be a red herring to take people's minds off the fact that literally it's the lockdown system forever now. And it's no coincidence that they rolled out 5G at the same time the coronavirus happened. It's because they'll need 5G to monitor us from this point on. Absolutely and totally monitor us. And it's been coming a long time. Like, if you watch my presentation this coming Friday on AV11, the tickets are still on sale. If you go to alternativeview.co.uk, you can watch my presentation online. I'm talking about transhumanism and the digital gin. But it's like it goes way back to things even like barcodes. Barcodes on things were initially designed to help warehouses do logistics better. So if a certain brand of breakfast cereal vanished, it was running down on a certain shelf in somewhere in some city, the logistic companies could immediately load trucks and send and replenish at the local warehouse. But they soon discovered things like that a certain copy of a magazine would sell more in one area than it would in another area if it had a certain celebrity or a royal on the cover. And then when they started giving people credit cards in the 80s, and they knew who it was, who was buying the magazine. They had the beginning of the data began then. So this has been going on a very long time, this datification of everything. And because these transhumanists don't have any soul, and they don't, ultimately, they're like a Bill Gates doesn't know what it's like to be human. They see everything just like a robot. If you see that video, I'm sick of seeing it at this point now, but like watch it one last time where Bill Gates gets the pie thrown at him. His reaction is literally, I'm waiting for a forked tongue to come out like a lizard one. Like that, as he's running away terrified. His reaction wasn't human because these people are not human. I don't know what they are. I wouldn't be surprised if we found that they were. It was like the film X. No, V, wasn't it V? The one where the reptilians from another planet came in skin suits. I wouldn't be surprised if he was something like that, but he's not. He's not. But it wouldn't surprise me if I found that he was. So data is everything. Data is the god, and there'll be ways that people will find to get off it. And remember, the system that they also have will be very vulnerable. It will be prone to crashing. It will be prone to hacking, and so on. Have you also known, and terrorism as well? Have you noticed that there's been no terrorist attacks since this all happened? Like coronavirus has actually stopped terrorism and wars. Fascinating, isn't it? But I have to say, there hasn't been really any major terrorist attacks since Trump. Since Trump got elected, there hasn't been many. And one of the first things he did was to visit Saudi Arabia. The people behind the royal family in Saudi Arabia, the people behind 9/11, and the close personal friends of the Bushes. And ever since then, there's been no terrorism. It's almost like he said to them, I'll nuke you if you don't stop these terrorist attacks all over Europe and everywhere." And they just stopped. So, but it's like, and since Corona's come along, everything is stopped. There's no problems in the world, but there are problems. We're not hearing about them. There's chronic amounts there'll be huge amounts of suicides. I'm hearing terrible stories about that. There'll be murder, suicides, families. There will be, as I said, alcoholism is off the scale right. Well, not alcoholism, alcohol consumption is off the scale right now. And I just look at them, at the people when they're getting this €350 a month, whatever, off the Irish government, and they're spending it on drink. A lot of it, because they're bored. They played all the video games. They've watched all the Netflix, and normies don't have real hobbies. And they do what they're told to do by media, and there's nothing left to do now. So they're just drinking themselves into oblivion, and this is what they want. They don't want anyone thinking. If you look at all the societies, like if you look in 1980, in the book 1984, they're all wasted on gin. They literally live on gin because it's used for it medicates them, it gets them drunk. It eases the pain of the existence that they live in. But in 1984, Airstrip 1, where Winston Smith's world, had it easier. Because they were not monitored. At least he could hide behind the view screen and hide his thoughts. You can't hide from the chip. Well, we'll find a way to hide from the chip. It's going to be a lot harder than what he had to deal with. And he made the ultimate mistake, that believing that there was a resistance, that Goldstein actually existed and there was a resistance. And there wasn't. Goldstein was part of, O'Brien was Goldstein. It was invented by the control grid. That's the mistake he made. He was idealistic, where Julia had the right idea, just enjoy whatever she could in life, sex, drink, coffee, whatever she could get her hands on. And that's probably how we will survive from now on. The best, savor what makes you happy. Enjoy what makes you feel good. The company of others, people or close friends, the food that you can still get and enjoy, and if you can get away, do that. And it's going to be okay. It's not going to be a horror show. Like everything else, human beings have a remarkable ability to adjust to it and keep themselves dignified out of the reach of these people. Now, like I keep saying, this is the greatest education that you'll ever get, and absolutely it is. And the greatest education you've got living. If you live on a suburban street, you know the ones you cannot trust. They're the ones out clapping the NHS workers, are putting the rainbow. See the rainbow flag in the window. Imagine you were a Jew in 1930s Germany, and you knew the implications of what swastikas in certain and being flown in certain windows meant. Just say you know the ones to avoid and how to keep low. Well, you must see the ones who are putting rainbow flags in their windows as the same as the ones who put swastikas in their windows in Nazi Germany. These are dangerous people. These are the ones who would sell you down the river in a minute. You must make sure that you must make a list. You gotta do your own espionage now. Make a list of all the people in your neighborhood and all the people you know that put rainbows in the window and were out there for the clapping and were out snitching on people and so on, and being, what's the word, bullying you to be, to be a good a branch Covidian. And you make sure these people never know your business, never know anything about you. Don't talk to them. If you have to talk to them, just patronize them, or say hello. But you make sure you know who the beasts on your street are now. And this is a great advantage you now have in life. You're 1/38. She covered a house in rainbow flags, and she's the first one out clapping. I don't want her anywhere near me. The man over 46 and his weird kids dancing in the streets for the. I don't want them anywhere near me. Their kids waving the rainbow flags and everything, boasting about it. Look online, see their behaviour on your community Facebook pages. The ones who are saying things like, I cannot believe people are down at the park. Someone should arrest them. Like we had a situation here in Ireland where people who crowded out an Aer Lingus flight complained that the flight was crowded out. That's who you look for. You look for the people who do those kinds of things. We now know who the enemy around us is and who we can never trust for the rest of their lives. And some of you are going to have to deal with being members of your family. Just have to deal with it. Sorry. You now have to realize who the risky ones are around you. They've made themselves known by the behavior of being branch Covidians, and that's what you have to deal with. And that's it. Sorry, I'm not a bit more. I'm just a bit very tired. I don't feel too good today. But that's I'm not down about any of this. I'm prepared. I'm ready. I know what's coming. You should know what's coming as well. And this is why, if you have money to spend on things remember, you still have books in your house. You'll still have things you can read, things you can do, hobby stuff. You'll still have all that stuff. This is probably, the way people would prep with food for an oncoming thing. Another thing you should also prep are hobby things. Books, board games, things you can make, things the kids can build, things like that, Lego, things like that keep people occupied, jigsaw puzzles, because this is part of your training for you to be the conscious insurgent of the future. This is part of your training to survive this going forward and to keep that song in your heart. And this is where creative people really are going to come into their own. The people out there who are creatively minded, painters, artists, songwriters, all those types, anyone, sculptors, you name it, these are the ones we need going forward more than anyone else to generate the new reality that will replace the techno-prison that they're planning. Remember, an act of creation is an act of magic. It's every conscious creative thought is an act of magic. So we've had the painters and the artists paint the most nihilistic, horrible things for years, forever now. And that was part of servicing a shadow in society. Nothing wrong with that. But now it's time for the artist, the songwriter, the painter to create the new reality through their craft. Because these are the magicians that we really need more than anything else. And not to create the reality for all the world, because that won't happen. Create the reality for you and the ones you love. And it's really that easy. Even if you are not like an artistic minded person, get yourself a journal today and say, Today is the 4th or 5th of May, whatever it is, 2020. I'd put the date to the top and say it. At the 4th of May 2021, I will be happy, contented, free, and so will the people I love. You do that. You do things like that every day. And you project yourself into a happy future. Be aware what's going on, like I am. But that's not the same thing as being a slave to it. And anyone who uses those kinds of terms like get up off your knees, you're not on your knees. Anyone who says get out of the prison planet, you're not in a prison planet. All these things, all the most negative people, get that language out of your head. It's like I've been saying for years, I am the Illuminati. You are the Illuminati. We are the illumined ones, not them. Certainly not them. And born your own reality going forward. And that's it. So take care.